The most important person in the whole wide world is you, and you hardly even know you. The most important person in the whole wide world is you. Come on, we'll show you. Let's find out more about the things you feel and do, 'cause you're the most important person in the world to you.
Hello, 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 and happy hump day to all the listeners out there. Hi, this is One4ALLisLove with Sonya Spirit, and I am Sonya Spirit. And today's episode is titled Boss Baby, or Let Go of My Ego. All right, and I am excited about this episode. Well, I'm excited about all episodes. Okay, so let's get into it. Of course, we're talking about consciousness. And so the human mind is comprised of at least three facets, okay? And I always say at least because my knowledge is limited, so I take into account that there are things that I don't know. Okay, so there are at least three facets to the human mind. We have the conscious, we have the subconscious, and then we have the superconscious. Now, the superconscious is basically a God, okay? It is the original source of all life, okay? So it's intelligent life, it's intelligent energy, it's perfect, it's harmonious, it's God, okay? All right, so now, and we have all of this in us, even the superconscious. However, we get in the way of that. Okay, so the conscious is the one that we use most, well, the one that we're conscious of or cognizant of. It is our rational mind. It's the one that when we are awake, it's the one that we use to think, to produce thoughts, to also process experiences, okay, and whatever type of experience, whether they're mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, but it processes experiences. It's where the five sensates are processed, among other things. So the conscious mind is often called the rational mind, and it is the 10% that we use when we hear about different experts speaking on how much of our mind or brain that we use. Well, when they say brain, it's basically being used as mind. But okay, so the conscious is 10%, and the subconscious is considered 90%. But of that 90%, the superconscious, because the subconscious has access, bidirectional access to the superconscious. The conscious doesn't have that luxury. It can be penetrated, but it's not bidirectional. So it cannot send, it can only receive. Okay. All right, so, and the reason the conscious, I call the conscious boss baby, is because most of us have allowed the conscious, our individual conscious, to be the decision maker, okay? And the conscious, the boss baby, is the youngest and least experienced. Can you believe that? Like, really, how did this happen? So let's talk about that. Last week we talked about, we had touched on, it just escaped me. But we talked about consciousness, and we also talked about the conscious being the youngest, okay, of the three consciousness levels of consciousness, so to speak. It is the youngest because it is born or it is created when our soul is incarnated into another physical body. Okay, I don't want to identify ourselves with the body because that's part of the problem. That's how we recognize, we identify and recognize ourselves as a body, as mankind, not man. Man is the individuated soul. Mankind is the physical representation or the physical embodiment of that soul. Okay. So boss baby or conscious is the youngest, the least experienced, the least knowledgeable. It really is what it is, a baby that we have empowered, whether by default or whatever the process was, we have empowered with the decision making. And this is critical because, remember, thoughts are things. Thoughts are things, and whatever we entertain in our mind, of course, particularly when it's done repetitiously, then we are impressing the subconscious, which I have named Teenage Mutant Ninja Subconscious, and we'll get into that in a second. So the repetition of the boss baby or the conscious will impress the subconscious. And once the subconscious is impressed and have accepted this impression, whether it's through repetition, routine, or it's so focused and it fully envelops the concept. There is no other programming that resists this new concept, so to speak. And then, of course, the subconscious communicates with the superconscious, and it helps. Do we have a person here? Hello, person. Okay, let's see if we can get this person on the line. I wasn't really expecting any callers, but let's see here. I'm not quite sure how to do this. Hello?
Hello.
Hello? All right. Hi. Welcome to One4ALLisLove. Hi. And whom am I speaking with?
This is Brianna.
Brianna, how are you doing, Brianna?
I guess well.
Okay, very good. Yes, say well. Do you want to be well?
Oh yeah, I'm like just trying to, I don't know. I'm going through something like real trying at the time because I don't have a way to stop what's upon me, and that's being put out of my place.
Okay. So you're in the process of being evicted? Hello? Hello? Okay, I think we just lost Brianna. Well, I thought we were going to have a discussion. Live examples are better than stories. But okay, well, Brianna, we will include her in our healing meditation at the end of the show. I hope everything fares well for Brianna. I hope she's able to make it through her situation, and not only make it through her situation, but learn from her situation and grow from her situation. She says she's going through quite a bit, and I don't disagree with that. And oftentimes we can feel overwhelmed by our circumstances, particularly if we don't know how to deal with it. So, but we'll go ahead and move on and continue to discuss the consciousness. We were talking about how the subconscious can communicate with the superconscious, and basically the subconscious attracts all the necessary energy, and when I say energy, in terms of like raw material, okay? Because everything is energy, whether we can see it or not, okay? So the subconscious attracts all of the necessary energy to manifest the energy into a physical product, so to speak, okay? A physical manifestation. So the subconscious works with the superconscious with respect to that, because the superconscious is basically infinite, okay? It's infinite, it's limitless, it's God, okay? So, and this is why it's so important that we have to learn how we work, how we operate as an individuated soul as well as a physical body, so we can start controlling our own energy. Right now, we are very reactive. We are, not all of us, many of us are reactive beings. So we wait for something to happen and then we respond. And what we want to do is learn over time how to take ownership, authority over our own energy. Okay? So getting back to the boss baby and how, you know, I've already said that it's the youngest one. Even though we think we use it the most in terms of how we use consciousness on more of a automated level, because the subconscious is an automatic process. That is God's operating system, or one of God's perfect systemic institutions. And I always talk about how God is both creative and orderly or systemic. The subconscious is one of those, because the body, of course, is naturally designed to heal itself. All of those operating systems, so to speak, this is the IT in me talking, all of those operating systems or programs exist or is housed in the subconscious. Okay, so recognizing that we have allowed boss baby to be the decision maker. So, you know, think about as an adult, when we are not sure of something, 9 times out of 10, we either do one or two things. We just pull the trigger and go with our first instinct, or we sit there and we probably overanalyze it until we absolutely do nothing, you know, analysis paralysis. And but what we want to learn how to do is recognize what state we might be in. Okay, so here's one example. The conscious will second guess. The subconscious will not. So oftentimes, you know how they used to tell you on a test, go with your first answer, okay? Go with the first answer that comes to mind. And the reason why is because it is more, I don't want to really say instinctual because that's more on the animal level, but whatever comes to mind is what your energy is attracted to. So chances are that's your subconscious kind of making you aware that this is the right answer, you know. And then, of course, when we go back and second guess, or when we think about it some more, and thinking about it some more, of course, is the boss baby, because the subconscious, it doesn't have to rationalize. It doesn't have to, weigh everything out. Remember, the subconscious is as powerful as the superconscious on a much smaller scale, but it's also imperfect, whereas the superconscious is perfect. The subconscious is not perfect because why? It is our individuated soul. And if it was perfect, then it wouldn't be an individuated soul. It would be a part of the collective whole superconscious because it would be perfect. Okay. So the subconscious is not perfect, but it's programmable. So we can get it very close to perfection. Now, once we reach perfection, when you think about it, once you actually are perfect, then you will cease to exist because God is perfect. So you will pretty much kind of fold back into that superconscious energy. Okay. All right. Let's continue. So, okay. So the boss baby is the conscious, which of course is your ego. Okay. And like I said, the boss baby, the ego, very young, very inexperienced, and is just processing your experiences. Now, the reason why the subconscious was named Teenage Mutant Ninja Subconscious is because, A, the subconscious is certainly older than the conscious, older than boss baby. And so it's the teenage aspect of it. Now, the subconscious can also be mutant. Whenever, because there can be a disconnect or cognitive dissonance between your conscious and your subconscious. And when there is dissonance between the conscious and the subconscious is slow to no manifestation. Okay? Think about when you've ever been in conflict. The easiest one that most people can think of is buyer's remorse. Okay, you buy something on impulse, you felt it, you wanted it, you had to have it, and then once you got it, it was like, why the heck did I buy this again? I didn't need it. It wasn't necessary, but I had to have it at the time. So that's kind of like this. It's the same conflict between the conscious and the subconscious. Okay, so there is a mutant element, more like militant, probably more than mutant, but I guess more of a militant aspect to the subconscious. But it's also mutant as well, is because it's malleable. I think the ninja is more of the militant. Okay, yes, the militant aspect when the subconscious is not in confluence or aligned with the conscious, the ego conscious. There is that ninja or resistance aspect. Otherwise, the subconscious is mutant to the extent that it can be reprogrammed, reshaped, reformed. Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, through repetition. Okay, through repetition. That's how we. And what is repetition? Let's see. In sports, in music, we call it practice. Homework, practice. That's all it is. It's practice. Repetition is practice. Routine habits. Hygiene is practice. It's a routine habit. You've done it. You don't think of it as practice because you just get up and do it. But till you get to that point, it's practice. So you kind of have to force the subject. So the conscious, that's why they say 21 days make a habit. The conscious is trying to force the subconscious, to accept this change. This is something new. This is something we're going to do. And not that the subconscious always resists change, because it doesn't. But it does when there might be an old program already instilled in the subconscious. There is no resistance if there's no previous experience or program to resist the change that you're trying to make or introduce. Like, for example, going to the gym. If your old program is say, hey, we're going to eat what we want, we're going to chill, we're going to be a couch potato, and then when 2020 comes, January 2nd, you say, hey, I'm going to the gym, I'm about to get in shape, you're going to run into some resistance because your subconscious said, listen, we don't do that. We don't exercise regularly. We don't eat right. So, these resistance might manifest in like headaches. Like when people change their diets or they eliminate caffeine or they eliminate alcohol, things that they do routinely. Some people do drink every day. And I'm not going to judge because I drank close to every day at one point in time in my life. But it was all recreational, but it doesn't matter. A beverage is a beverage. Okay. So my point being this. So the subconscious is malleable, and the conscious can program it. So that's the beauty of this, all of this, period, is God has built a perfect system in which if we decide to help ourselves or yes, to help ourselves is the best way I can put it, then we will be allowed to move in that direction, and the universe will help us. The superconscious will help us move in that direction. Okay. So the subconscious is teenager because it's older than the boss baby conscious ego. It's mutant because it is malleable, it is adaptable, it can change. Okay, mutant to that extent that it changes, and it's okay that it changes from the norm. And then, of course, the ninja part is when it decides that it wants to resist or poses a challenge when the boss baby wants to introduce something new that conflicts with an old program. And then, of course, the superconscious is referred to as the wise, old, harmonious superconscious, which basically is, I could have said perfect superconscious. I could have said anything. It's God. So, however, whatever, characteristics, qualities, traits, which, of course, basically traits and qualities. God is perfect, period. Whether we agree with it or not, whether we believe in God or not, the system, you can call it God, you can call it the universe, it doesn't matter. It is perfect. It's perfectly designed. And, of course, now if you have a problem with that, then you have a whole problem with everything in terms of universal law. Okay? Because the premise, nothing happens by accident. There is no accident. There is no unfortunate events, contrary to Lemony Snicket or whatever his name is. But there is no, you might feel like it's unfortunate for you, but there's no happenstance, there's no coincidence, there's no accident. So when something appears to happen to you, which is actually for you and through you being your experience. It's part of your experience. For you it is for your benefit. It is a growth opportunity for you. So there's nothing happening to you. If you perceive it as something happening to you, then, of course, you will feel like a victim. You will feel like life is unfair or life is this and life is that. And there's no guarantee that God said that life is fair. I can certainly see why it appears not to be fair. How well do you exercise the gifts, the faculties that you've been given? Most of us don't fully utilize them. Most of us don't know how to fully utilize them. Many of us are afraid to even acknowledge that they exist. It's blasphemous to think that be still and know that I am God. Listen, I'm not trying to be blasphemous, and I'm certainly not trying to say, hey, I'm the one who created the world. But you're kidding yourself if you don't think that God, that life exists within you. Be still and know that I am God. Okay, let's go to the Bible. Because there are so many passages, so I want to talk about the phrase I am. We use I am without even thinking, with no conscious thought whatsoever. You talk about using the Lord's name in vain. That is using the Lord's name in vain. Well, why would you say that, Sonya Spirit? The Bible tells us, okay, now if you are not a Christian or Jewish and you're not feeling the Bible, okay, I get that, I understand that, and I'm sure there are many other supporting documentation out there. But we're going to reference the Bible since we're here. Okay, so God says, when Moses said, who shall I say sent me? And he says, I am that I am. Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. Now, God didn't say, God, I am the power of all, absolute, blah, 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 blah. I am. And I can almost promise you, I is one of the most overused words. I am is also magical. That is the power of the word. When you say I am, you are invoking God's power, spirit, energy. And we use the name in vain all the time. I am tired. I am this. I am that. We should be using those words a whole lot more lightly. Proverbs 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. Now, I know there's some context around that, but I want you to think about just that phrase. God is telling you, be still, sit down right where you are, or stand right where you are. Stop right where you are. And when you repeat Proverbs 46:10, be still and know that I am God. God is telling you, I am in you. I am that I am. I am you, I am inside you, and I am everything outside of you. That's what God meant when he said, I am that I am. So be still and know that I am God. I am that I am. That, whatever I choose, that's what that means. That's free will. That's the power of God. That's creativity. I am that. Whatever I choose, I am. Now, think about that. So every day, we are invoking God. We use God's name in vain, and we don't even know it. We're so ignorant. We're so ignorant. Okay, let's continue. But I don't want to gloss over it. But, this is only an hour show, so I can't belabor it either. But please understand the gravity of the words I am. Because whatever follows I am, we're telling the subconscious, hey, I need you to go dig deep to the superconscious and make this happen. Now, of course, I'm sure some people say, well, I am a millionaire. And that's perfectly fine. Now, the problem comes in with manifestation is, once again, what did I say earlier? If there is a conflict. If there's a conflict between Boss Baby and the Teenage Mutant Ninja subconscious, it will not manifest. And that is to our benefit, believe it or not. Because there are some things that you don't want manifested. You might have wanted them manifested at the time that you said it, when you were angry, upset, pissed off, bitter, whatever it was. I know I'm glad for the delayed reaction. For the same reason why I don't own a handgun, which we were talking about last week. Yes, I am grateful because I have to, listen, I don't pretend to be nowhere near perfect. I know I have to work on my attitude. And now my perspective is easy. I can do that. Once I'm cool, I'm good. It's that It's learning how to control that. And I've gotten a whole lot better, and in a short period of time. So I know if it works for me, it can work for you too. Okay, so my point is this. Please understand that I am, our magic words, is a critical phrase, statement, and you are invoking God with those words. Now, when everything is in alignment, it will manifest, and you won't even be aware of it until it actually manifests. There are things that I have said, and they have manifested, and I never gave it any second thought. And I think I probably mentioned them. One was I wanted to live abroad, and I'd never lived abroad. I don't even have family who lived abroad, but that's what I wanted. I said it one year, and probably, I don't know, maybe a year or two later, I don't know what the lag time was, but then I was living in South Korea for 2 years. And then I said I wanted to work from home. And, of course, at that time I was going to a corporate job, office, every day, blah, blah, blah. And maybe 6 months or a year, I was working from home. And when I have said those things, it wasn't something that I was, passionate about. And maybe I was. I was certainly sincere. And I did want to live abroad, and I did want to work from home. But it wasn't the same like that in love feeling type passion. It was just something I said in passing, but it was genuine. It was sincere. And it had no problem manifesting, probably because I never gave it too much thought after that. I said it, I claimed it, and then I let it go. And I let the subconscious and the superconscious work the rest of the magic. And believe it or not, that is how it works. It is that easy. We get in our own way. So, and I don't fully know how I get in my way. I do know a few things enough, especially about the energy. When there is a conflict between the heart and the head, which is your conscious and your subconscious, the things are slow to manifest, if it ever manifests at all. Okay? Because it's the subconscious who gets all the necessary ingredients or materials to manifest thoughts into physical things. Now, it gets it from the superconscious, but we don't care where it gets it from. But if the subconscious is not buying it, then you don't have to worry about seeing it. And that's why we need to be cognizant of who's making decisions. Are we making the right decisions for ourselves, or are we letting Boss Baby make the decisions based on its limited, finite number of years on this planet? Okay, now it may be collecting data from all over the place, but we know data can be skewed to represent anything you want it to represent. And this is where meditation, prayer, affirmations and mindfulness are critical. You need to understand and recognize who's making this decision. Am I making this decision because it is the best decision for all, or is it the best decision for me? And sometimes the best decision for you might be the best decision for all based on what information that you have. Remember, as you get new information, you're allowed to change your mind. Okay, that happens because it's called growing and improving. But but this is why meditation is important, and because that energy, that awareness. So meditation allows you to receive messages. It also kind of heightens your sensitivity and awareness to receiving messages or information or performing duties or acts, because what you're really working on or trying to work on, or the objective, at least I think it is for me, you want to be fully in line. You want to, for lack of a better word, you want to submit your conscious and your subconscious to the superconscious so you can receive whatever gifts that God wants to bestow upon you. Now, you have to understand, God is an expresser. So God gives. And as a creation of God, we receive, collectively, we receive. And it's funny because even though we say that the conscious is male and the subconscious is female, the conscious, of course, impresses the subconscious. However, the conscious itself can be impressed by the superconscious, but it doesn't go the other way. So the superconscious can impress the conscious impress the subconscious, and if all is in agreement, then the subconscious, once again, will go to the superconscious, collect all its necessary ingredients, and then manifest whatever we have been entertaining in our thoughts. And so I'm taking the class, and the instructor told me, listen, you have to understand you are second. God is first. Live your life as though God is first and you are second. Now that sounds very easy, but we have been conditioned based on how old we are in this incarnation, lifetime, for X amount of years or decades to behave a certain way. And that's what I'm telling you. We're going to have to change the way we think, the way we process information, so that we can yield the results that we want. And these episodes are repetition. It's introducing different tools, different aspects of thinking about the material, how it can apply to us, how we can apply it for our betterment individually and collectively, because we're all related. We're all connected. We're all related, and it's all relative. Okay, so here's a tool. Okay, so I want to touch a little bit on energy. We are all energy. We are all vibrating energy. With that, I think that's law. That vibration is 3. Yes. So we are all vibrating energy. And to the best of my knowledge, that's not something we can fake. We can manipulate it, but I don't think we can fake it. And fake it just made me think of another saying. Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it is repetition. It's practice. You're trying to program the subconscious to make a new condition acceptable, a new truth acceptable, a new whatever, change acceptable. That's what fake it till you make it means. So, if you want to be a millionaire or a billionaire, whatever, then you have to place yourself in these type of energetic environments. So I forgot, it was someone who did a study, and they said that they had interviewed X amount of people, and they asked them if they had, like their last $10, what would they do? And, depending on people's backgrounds, the answers varied. So, if you grew up relatively with little means, you might hold on to it. And 9 times out of 10, most people will try to hold on to it or make it last. There was, I think, maybe a handful of people who would be willing to part with it, share it, or give it to someone else who was more in need than they were. And then there was a select group of people, more people of affluence, well-to-do, so to speak, and they said that they would spend their last $10 in an environment where that they could attract other likewise energy. So it was one particular, I think it was a woman's statement about drinking a $10 cup of coffee or having a cup of coffee at the most exquisite hotel in the city, which will probably cost you about $10, because of the energy, the mind energy that is occupying that space. So now think about this. So in this most expensive hotel, what type of people will be in there? Now, there'll be people who, of course, supports the hotel. So these are service workers. I don't think the lady with the $10 cup of coffee is trying to pick up the energy of, housekeeping and room service. She's trying to pick up the energy of people who check into that hotel. That type of energy. So these people that are checking into this hotel, they're not worried about paying for the room. That's not even a concern of theirs. So think about that. If you have an experience of lack and you want an experience of abundance, how do you change your mentality? There are ways of doing it. Visualization exercises, okay? Envisioning yourself in whatever environment. So if you want opulence, if you want decadence, then you have to envision yourself in these type of environments. And if you have problems with envisioning, because some people do, some people just can't create clear images, then do one better. Place yourself in these environments. You can go to an open house. They got $1 million homes every weekend for an open house, or it could be an $800,000 house or a $500,000 house. But so if this is what you want, or that type of over-the-top vehicle, whatever it is that you desire, okay? But what they're saying is you have to put your mind, that is putting your mental energy into it. So you have to close your eyes. When you're doing your visualization exercise, my eyes have to be closed, otherwise I'm distracted. But yes, your eyes have to be closed because, first of all, if your eyes are open, who's on duty? Boss baby's on duty. And if boss baby's on duty, boss baby is so easily distracted. Now think about that being a child. Boss baby is so easily distracted, certainly more so than the subconscious. Now, if you are someone who has focus, that's great. This should be an easier exercise for you. If you are someone like myself whose mental energy is all over the place, close your eyes. Close your eyes and get comfortable. Find a comfortable place. Some people say sit in a chair, upright, feet parallel to the ground or floor, hands faced up on your legs or knees. Some other people may say lay down as though it was a hypnotherapy session. Be relaxed. Be comfortable. Allow your subconscious to move into the forefront instead of the background, to move into the foreground. Okay? And you want to think about what you are manifesting. You want to think about, how often do I put God first? How often do I think about God? Now, me personally, of course, I have my morning routine. And so that's my morning routine, and it starts my day. It initiates the energy of my morning. That's the way I want it to start. Now, does it always begin that way? No. But like I said, it's like a diet. If you fall off the wagon, just get back on. Don't beat yourself up. It's not the end of the world. Remember, forgiveness is a tool for you, not for the next person. We need to free our mind so that we can begin thinking, imagining, dreaming, creating things that we truly desire to be in our life. Okay, so here's an exercise. And I didn't even get into, I will. Okay, so here's an exercise. This is an easy one. Well, it's an easy one for me to explain. It's not that easy to do. Try to go a day, or if it's too challenging, an hour, where you form sentences in the affirmative. Oh, what does that mean? You form sentences that does not use the word not. Because the universe doesn't really recognize not. It's kind of like the absolute value in math. Everything is positive. Okay, it's the same concept. But try, because what we end up asking for are things that we don't want. I do not want to be bothered. That's the same as saying I want to be bothered. I could not, I would not, I do not. Okay. Now, the one other thing I want to touch on as far as energy, and I'm not going to do the subject justice, so I'll probably have to end up doing an episode on it, but it does have to do with energy, another technique for manifesting things faster in your life. Now, like I said, energy you can't fake, so there has to be some genuine sincerity, because God can read your energy. That's what karma is all about. Cause and effect is all about. It's the energy. It reads the energy. And if you break laws, okay, so you can not have negative energy and break a law, and of course there's still, karmic debt, because ignorance of the law does not absolve you of it. But getting back to energy, one of a technique for manifesting something faster is by finding a proxy. And a proxy sounds, that's not really a good word, but truthfully, that's what it is. And the proxy is someone that has a similar condition to you. It's a real person now, so I'm not talking about, a voodoo doll or something like that. We're talking about find a person who is in a similar situation such as yourself, whether it's financial, whether it's a home hardship. Oh, I really wish this lady would call back. I forgot her name. But when you pray for someone else, when you meditate or focus your energy or harness your energies to heal someone else, what you're doing is you're allowing your body to be a conduit or a channel for the superconscious healing light, and it's going through you but out to whomever you're directing it to. And as a result of you focusing your energy on helping or healing someone in a similar situation, the boomerang effect of energy is it will come back on you. So, was it Matthew 7:12? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This is what we're talking about here. So pray for someone else. Meditate on behalf of someone else. Send healing energy to someone else. Fill someone else's space. Direct your energy to fill someone else's space with love, healing light, harmony, protection. And by that energy going through you, it heals you too. You send it out, and whatever you do to someone else comes back to you. And that is the beauty of being my brother's keeper. So instead of pitying someone or certainly judging or comparing, and there's nothing wrong with comparing as long as you use it to appreciate something. Use it as a tool for a betterment. So, we want to pray for others. And be specific. Say names. It's only you and God. Now, if you want to broadcast it, feel free. But, when you're communicating with God, it's just you and God. You don't even have to open your mouth. God hears everything, sees everything, feels and senses everything. And the beauty of praying and meditating for someone else, like I said, it has an exponential effect. You get two for the price of one. You're bestowing blessings on someone else, and as a result of your unselfish act, you will be bestowed with blessings. Isn't that beautiful? Let me tell you something. You tell me God is not perfect. The old, wise, harmonious superconscious. God is beautiful. And if you don't know that, then you need to spend a little bit more time introspecting, reflecting, being grateful. Okay. All right. We are coming down. We are under the 10-minute mark. So just to kind of recap a little, we talked about the boss baby being the ego, the conscious. We cannot let the boss baby run the show. We have to understand that the boss baby, the ego, the conscious, it has a function. It can program our subconscious, but we need to make sure that we are putting the right thoughts. We are practicing or repeating the right thoughts, words, actions, and emotions. We don't want the youngest component of our mind with its inexperience running the show. And that's what it's doing. And that's why many of us are in the mess that we're in. And then we talked about the subconscious, which is our heart energy. So the ego conscious is the mind energy, the head energy. We often use it as the brain energy, so the subconscious is the heart energy. It's the teenage mutant ninja subconscious. For the various reasons. It's older than boss baby. It can change. It's malleable. It's programmable. However, it does create a resistance when it's not in agreement with boss baby. The subconscious communicates to and from the wise, old, harmonious superconscious, which also resides in us. However, boss baby may not let the old superconscious out, because God is not going to impose its will on us. There is only restorative actions. That's what I call karma, restorative actions of harmony. Okay, so the subconscious, of course, the subconscious manifests. We just want to make sure we're receiving the right ideas, thoughts, concepts from boss baby. We want less ego. And then, of course, the wise old harmonious superconscious communicates with our subconscious, gives it everything it needs to manifest the consciousness thoughts into physical things. And then there are things that we need to be cognizant of, using the words I am, using the Lord's name in vain. Change your mental energy, change your attitude, change the way we perceive each other. It's not a competition. We should all be cooperating to make the world a much more beautiful place, but we have to start with changing ourselves. Understanding our energy, how it can be used to help people. Just through prayer and meditation, we can help people. Through prayer, meditation, affirmations. We don't have to buy anything. We don't have to go anywhere. Right where we are, we can send out healing light, blessings, God's healing energy. Use me as a channel, as a conduit. And let's which is a great segue into our healing segment. So think of someone, family member, friend, complete stranger, something you saw on TV. It's okay to pray for a complete stranger. It might have even more energy. I don't know, but I'm just, because there's absolutely no investment, or so it appears. But let's all think of a family member, friend, loved ones, strangers, even though I say there's no such thing as a stranger, because God is, was, and ever will be everything. So let's pray for all our individuated souls who need healing, whether it is some component of their body, whether it is their mind, whether it is their emotional state. May God, abundant healing light, bless every aspect of the people that we are thinking of who should receive your healing light. May every cell be perfect and grow and develop in harmony. May organs become fully functional. May spirits be uplifted. Thank you, God, for the life that we have, right where we are, regardless of our circumstances. I know every experience is for our benefit, whether we are aware of it or not. But we pray that you show us the lesson, the teaching, the blessing in every adversity so that we may grow closer to you, know ourselves even better, and open our heart to heal our fellow man. So be it, and so it is. Well, friends and family, thank you so much for listening to this episode on Boss Baby, or Let Go of My Ego. And spend some time focusing on your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your words. Make whatever necessary changes, no matter how small. And be aware, because God will meet you wherever you are and help you along the way. So, have a great rest of the week. Happy December. The holidays are among us. Hopefully I will have a podcast next week, and hopefully you'll listen to it. So until next week, thank you, family. Have a great week. Bye-bye.